All right, Trek, we are technically live. Give me your ABCs real quick just to make sure this motherfucker running.
Elemental P Q R X T U
Oh,
V W Y X Y and Z.
it did it like it was a song. Elemental P out this motherfucker. All right, hold on. I think we're good. This is so unprofessional. I gotta figure this part out.
Oh no, trust me, bro. Like lives is the worst, especially when you be crossing different platforms.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that, but yeah, we got fuck that shit. We got Trek on the goddamn show today. What's the name of this show? Not safe for motherfucking ears. Marvin's not here. He's somewhere working out, being swollen shit while I'm fat. That swole motherfucker.
Yo, I ain't even gonna take that from you because I seen you run, bro. You just like take off.
You know what? I don't know. You know what's so funny about that, and I appreciate that. And what Trek is alluding to before we jump into why he's actually on the show to talk about his expertise, we have a meetup group where we try to meet up multiple times during the week. One being on Sunday, a Sunday fun day, and we've been running. And my little fat ass been moving. These little legs been moving, dog. They have been moving, but it took me about a month. No, it took me about 2 or 3 months to get to that speed. It doesn't make any sense because if I take my shirt off, it looks like melted Jello that you put back in the refrigerator, and it kind of remolds into some shit that wasn't supposed to be.
And then you want to make jokes, right? But the dude got hands.
I got hands. Listen, I got hands. But listen, when you short with moves, you gotta have hands and you gotta know how to run. Those two, you know what I'm saying? Like I might, cause I can't beat up every goddamn body. Physics is physics, baby. You know, matter, velocity. So Shaq come, I'm gonna have to get on that bicycle. But if Shaq little son come and he about 180 to 220 and he blind in one eye, I'm gonna fuck his ass up. Anyway, that's not how we talking today. Today we got Trek. We got my man Trek. Trek, how long we been trying to get this shit together, dog?
Bruh, like I want to say it's like since last year. It's definitely before all this COVID stuff. It's definitely before all of that.
Well, I'm glad we're on now, and the reason why it's been delaying some of the shows is because of actually the pandemic. But we're gonna have you on proper like once everything clears up sooner than later, even before they probably say it's advisable to do so we can get the in studio. You know what I'm saying? Vibe and action. Right, you got to.
I want to be on the couch. I want to yell the whole shebang, bro.
All that. So Trek, we connected through social media, which is one of the reasons why this platform or social media in its entirety is such a cool thing because people can never know each other, never knew they existed in a planet, and through a hashtag or through a share or through a random scroll and some algorithms meet each other. So we met, and you had some real cool topics that you like to cover. One being of the many cryptocurrency. And it's pretty much damn near in your name. So if somebody just goes to your page, they're going to see or they're going to think you a gangbanger and you can't spell.
Yo.
This nigga don't know how to spell Crip, or Crip means something else.
Bro, on the name thing, you'd be surprised how often when I introduce myself to people, people will still say, oh, Trey? Tray.
Are you trying to say black people can't read? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm saying people can't listen. That's what I'm saying. Okay. People can't listen.
Yeah. Like that's me. I'm in there somewhere.
All the time, bro. And I was just like, no, I said K, like Star Trek. And then that's why I say when I introduce myself, I'm Trek with 2 Ks.
Right.
Because I was getting real tired of people saying Trey, and I didn't know whether it was like, yo, like, are we making an assumption because I'm black that it's a drug-related thing? Because black people was doing it to me too.
Listen, fam.
That's why, and I was like, all right, we're going to nip this in the bud. So, Trek with 2 Ks.
Now you know what's so fucked up though. You've now implanted that in my head like Inception. So I'm gonna see you and be like, yo, what's up, Trey, kid? And then you just can't get too mad at me. Trek, we're gonna start off with a few questions. We're not going to start off. We're going to cover a few questions, but we're going to start off with who you are.
All right.
From day one, as soon as you hopped out the vagina, let me know who you are.
Oh, man. I was a baby with Johnson's. I think when you come out like yellow.
Oh, okay. All right, look at that.
You said from day one. So day one, like that's how I popped out.
Yeah, you kept it real.
Grew up in
oh, you know what's so funny? 1 second. I don't know if anybody can see you.
Yeah.
Hold up.
You're me right now, bro.
I'm looking at you, but I say, and my wife supposed to be my producer. She ain't shit. Because she supposed to say, Can't nobody see this motherfucker. So hold on, let me make sure we got you. They can hear you. They've been here and they've been listening. They've been like, oh, Nick has just been talking to himself.
Nick playing voices.
Look, she talking about I told you. You ain't tell me a damn thing. I yelled. Hold up. All right, so there we go. Can you see yourself now with me?
I can see myself.
There we go. So let me go ahead and take all this shit off. And I told you. He ain't telling me a damn thing. And if she did, she probably was like, your shit ain't working. Like that. It wasn't like, no, she told me. It was like, hey, dumbass, your shit ain't working. So let me zoom you in. And for all those who thought I was just talking to myself, and they like, yo, this nigga Nick really lost it. This is Trek.
Damn, that is like mad close. It's Jesus.
So maybe can you pull back some on your phone? Because if I zoom out, it's gonna mess with the ratio. Let's see here. About right there's what I could probably take it
at. All right.
We're gonna rock with this, right? We're gonna rock
with it.
So Trek, this is you. You were born with jaundice. And where did that take you in life?
That took me as far as being raised in a Caribbean household. So, grew up with the whole oxtail, rice and peas, okra,
That's some nasty shit.
On that whole line. A tin of sardine and ting them. So,
okay.
That's me growing up, lived in New York, lived in Florida, lived in Jersey. Fast forward X amount of years, I finished out high school in New York. Original birthplace is Brooklyn.
Okay.
End up doing a bunch of different career things. Like I've worked with kids, I've worked with special needs folks. I used to be a truck driver. Did more recently the whole like gig economy thing, doing like TaskRabbit. And at a certain point, even did the military. So I'm down with Maryland's National Guard,
okay.
Uncle Sam at the lower level. And so been around the world in a couple of different places. I'm not saying I was a door knocker or anything like that. But I've been some places and I know how to appreciate life and the things that we have here in the first tier country that you would definitely take for granted when you go certain other places. And so 2017, done with my second deployment in Kuwait, didn't want to do defense contracting anymore. And then I said, I'm going to push into this blockchain thing. I've been in this space since like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
First heard about it through this joint called Off the Hook. If you old school like cypherpunk, you know what Off the Hook is from WBAI out of New York.
Okay.
And so I heard
music channel.
Nah.
So I got a homeboy named Akil. Then my man Mace put me on too. So I said, I got somebody for you. No, for real, it's a black dude out of Baltimore who does punk rock. So I was getting excited. I was like, I'm gonna connect y'all. But anyway, go ahead, continue your story.
So cypherpunk.
Okay.
I'm talking about like folks who are into the whole techie computer world, the hackers and stuff like that. So there was a radio show called Off the Hook back in the day. And this is like 2011 when I first heard about Bitcoin. So I was late to the party by like 2 or so years. No, I was really late more than that because I heard about it then. But I didn't like put skin in the game until like 2012, 2013. So skin in the game meaning I didn't actually get any Bitcoin until like 2013, right? I done lost wallets. I done spent stupidly. I done had some that like if I would have kept all of what I had from back then to now, very, 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 very different position in life. Okay. When I got in, it was a general different mindset. The community held a little bit harder to like the core principles compared to where we are now and transition into the second decade. The folks that are coming in like after, let's say 2018, it's a different mindset. And if you talk to somebody who's been in before like 2016, they'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. It's a different mindset in part because where the technology, where the understanding and where the experience has gone since then. From when I got in, like it's way easier now. Like if you got in like back then, like you had to do something like send a money order to somebody who you didn't even meet, you never even saw them, and then like magically you got this address, and then you looked at it online, and then like you saw some numbers in there, and it's like, oh, that's how much Bitcoin I got. Now you got Cash App, you got Coinbase, you got Venmo. It's a whole different level of streamline.
It's definitely evolved. What you're saying over that time.
Bro.
So let me ask you a question before we go into more of the complexities of, which is a very, very broad topic, right? Even though it hasn't been around, you said what, 2000, maybe 9, 10. You could,
bro. Depending on what you're going off, like in the short, we're gonna say 2009.
So what is crypto? So for me, I've heard it. I've maybe read a few passing articles. CNN talks about it. I talk to people like you. But if you had to explain it to, like, I don't know, a middle scooter. Look, I'm already stupid. That's how you know. Middle scooter. If you had to explain it to like a dumbass like me 20 years ago, how would you explain crypto and why is it important to know about?
All right. So let me jump back one. Jumping back one, it's that cryptocurrencies, aka crypto for short, is really just the upgrading of money. Okay. The medium of money is based on a technology called blockchain, right? I'm not going to get into the weeds on that one, but just understand in regards to cryptocurrency, it is literally just the upgrading of money. Okay. The medium that we use. So case in point, at one point, we bartered for things. I got the eggs, you got the goat or the cow that got the milk. All right, we're going to switch it out, right? Now we get into this thing of a hard currency or a thing that we can use as a shared measured agreement of value. That's the money, right? So we talk about gold, we talk about silver. At some point, some cultures use salt, some cultures use rice, some cultures use cowrie shells, some cultures use boulders, bro. Okay, so we have an agreed upon measured metric that we use in that variation. Technology keeps upgrading, right? So now technology doesn't stop. So we get into where we get to fiat. That's the paper money thing. That's really promissory notes. Okay. So your parents, experience having gold in like as a, oh, that's money. They see when fiat comes in, which is your dollar bill, which is your, your Benjamin, your Franklin, all of that, the ones, the 10s, the 20s, all of that counts as fiat, right? We upgrade again. What is that? Let's say credit cards. Credit cards come in around in the 70s, late 70s. That's another upgrade in money. We get into the 90s, late 90s brings us the phone, right? So your phone brings you mobile money. And mind you, there are things that we do here in the US or in first tier countries that are a little behind when you go to other places. Like case in point, bro, in Ghana, they do it where they can transfer a person's check for the company they work for to the bank, but they'll use phone freaking, which is audio sound. So like you go into the bank with your analog phone, Ericsson like 1330, put it to the little speaker, press in a certain PIN number, and then a sound will play. And that transfers your paycheck from the company to the bank account. Or you're either pulling out the money. Like we don't do that over here. Yeah, bro. It's a couple of things, but the end of the day point is that cryptocurrencies is just an upgrading of the medium of money. Okay. That's literally it.
Okay. And then when you say upgrading, it's like not upgrading in the sense that like money's right here and it's better or it's worth more. Like you got like
no, I'm not saying the value.
Exchange, not that. You're just saying like a metamorphosis of the fiat to the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin. What?
So what I'm saying is that money as an agreed upon like tangible thing, right, or as a thing that we both say, okay, this represents a value, a measured value. Gold is a hard tangible asset. We don't want to walk around with gold anymore, so we walk around with these paper things in our pockets. That's the fiat. We don't want to walk around with the fiat anymore, these paper things in our pockets, so we then have credit cards. Credit cards, you can have access to what? $1,000, $500,000, $1 million. You don't want to deal with a credit card anymore for like quote security things. What's happening is every couple of decades or whatever, technology upgrades, so the medium of money upgrades with it.
Okay.
Now, we don't want to deal with mobile money in regards to it, quote, being centralized, meaning that an authority can tell me how to spend, when not to spend, and they can stop me from spending. When you look at this cryptocurrency thing, the bigger takeaway from this is where you choose and control how, when, and why you spend. Now, I will say this, though. For what I see happening now and what a lot of us in the space see, the governments around the world, central banks, they're all going to come up with their own version. Eventually, that stuff will start coming into play, which still then holds to the whole thing of
regulation.
Money. No. It still holds to the whole thing of money as you understand it and how you use it is just being upgraded to a different medium. It's like saying you can write with a pencil, you can write with a pen, or you can write with a marker. It's different mediums.
Okay.
Right? And the newest thing right now is this thing called crypto.
So, this is crazy. All right, so why should black people, people of color, people in certain socioeconomic levels that are not filthy rich and wealthy, why should we know about this new medium?
All right, I'm gonna break it into two things. One is to understand the technology part of it. The technology is blockchain that makes this thing possible. Blockchain itself has X amount of other uses. It's like if you look at electricity, you're going to use electricity to power your electric toothbrush. You can use electricity to do your washing machine, your dryer, your microwave. Those are different things that you can use electricity for. That's blockchain. That's what blockchain technology is. The one thing that we know most about is the money aspect, the currency, cryptocurrency, right? So there's a whole bunch of other use cases that are in development right now.
For example,
but you got logistics, you got digital ID, you have smart contracts. Like there's a bunch of rabbit holes you can run down on that.
Blockchain, okay.
But in regards to this thing of the money aspect, right now with what is going on in the world currently, you see Wall Street is making all types of crazy numbers. You have people who are doing fractional buy shares. They call them retail buyers within the Wall Street mechanism, right? And so X amount of people are using, what's the thing called? Robinhood.
Okay. Acorn, Robinhood, stuff like that.
Right. I'm not going to get into the weeds on why, what's going on with that. A lot of people are going to be mad when they end up holding the bag. But the point being is that in those particular kind of platforms and environments, you have it that someone else is controlling your funds. Okay. Within this thing we call crypto as it works today, you, as we've said in kind of the cliche line of you're your own bank, right? And so if I go from Canada to New York, from New York to let's say Chile, from Chile to France, there's no let me get all of this money and put in my pocket to go from one place to the next, right? Because the money is what on the internet. The bottom line in regards to this crypto thing and why black people need to understand it, because even if you don't believe in the internet funny money, even if you think it's a whole criminal people thing the technology isn't changing. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to deal with it one way or the other. There's never been a part where a modern society or modern city or whatever has its people not participate in what the main dominant money medium is. You might find your way to do things around, but the majority of everyone is going to be dealing in what is being like the most used thing. I'm not saying like come tomorrow, Bitcoin or whatever is going to be like the across the board everything. I can't even give you a guarantee Bitcoin will be here in like 10 years. But the technology part of it, that's not going anywhere. That's like the hardest part of the fact I could tell you about. And in regards to like us, in regards to people of color and how we look at building wealth, how we look at technology, we get left out of a lot of stuff. It's like in the US, bro, like when you understand how like the legal systems, policies, and like the financial structures have been set up and the goalposts have been moved to put Black Americans at a disadvantage over like decades. This is one of those things where if you don't get on this boat, and I'm not saying you got to go buy anything.
You said get on this boat. That triggered me. Don't say Black people get on the boat. Let's change that up right now. God damn it.
Okay.
All right. So if you don't ride this wave, maybe. If you don't ride this wave, brother, I'm sorry. All right. Get on the boat.
If you don't look to no, you know what? I don't want to say ride the wave because I'm not trying to say to anyone out here listening, you have to go get some crypto. I would encourage you to, but you don't have to do anything. Right. You don't know me from a can of paint, right? You can go out on the internet and search all of what I'm talking about and saying, and you'll find people who will definitely be like, oh, you need to do blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying you need to do anything other than at least understand what this thing is. Because at the end of the day, the technology part of it is not going anywhere, and it will be more and more introduced into your life. Like, I remember when this is like 2017, and we still have this thing now in the space where they would say stuff like, oh, we need to grandma proof it, right? I'm trying to put this in perspective for you. If you were 55 in 09, you come at it 10 years later, you're 65. That's the first decade part of crypto, right? It's still in your lifetime. Another 10, you're 75. It's still in your lifetime. So old, young, whatever, everyone want to talk about, oh, let's just focus on the young folks, the millennials. Yeah, they get technology a lot, quote, easier. But you still got, like, I know folks who's in their 60s and stuff who are in this whole blockchain crypto space. It might not be, quote, the majority or a bigger number in comparison to, like, the young folks. But I still know college folks who have no idea about, like, you know, how do you work the wallets? How do you, you know, go from one exchange to the next exchange? We make it sound like the young people are going to be the ones that like only they are going to like pick it up and everything. But I look at it and say, yo, whether you young, old, Black, old, whatever, guess what? We going into the second decade, and I'm not telling you to go get it, but you need to at least understand what it is and how eventually it will become part of your everyday from a technology perspective. Not saying you got to go learn code or nothing like that. Right. You didn't have to learn how, you know, the $1 bill was printed, but eventually you started using it. You didn't have to go and learn how the app was made for Cash App or Venmo, but eventually you started swiping. This is the same thing that's going to play out in this.
So all right, Google being what it is, right? Remember them encyclopedias back in the day, people would come to your door and sell? You don't need that anymore, right? You ain't got to waste your time, paper cuts, and all that other shit. You can go right to Google. So what's the first word they should Google? And is there maybe a documentary outside of you being one of the leading sources out of here, number one, right? And they can follow you at, let's go ahead and pull that lower third up. You can go ahead and say it when I pull it up. How can they follow you?
Yo, the full thing is actually Trekken Cryptos, the number 2 and Connect. Well, and like I got the podcast. Yeah. So no, what it was with IG, I couldn't put the whole thing on there. So that's why it's just Trekken Cryptos.
But they can still find you that way.
Oh yeah. You can find me just with those 2 words together. Podcast is the longer full name of it. My company is on a whole different other thing. But all right. You wanna really get the basics?
Yeah, like a blockchain for dummies documentary, a song, something out there. I'm gonna learn.
All right, intro. I would say look for my guy Bitcoin Zay, aka Isaiah Jackson's book, Bitcoin in Black America.
Ooh, I like.
He provides the basic ABCs of what it is. He also provides the practical solutions of how you can get involved.
Okay.
Are you looking at it from the financial aspect? Are you looking at it from the technical aspect of, well, how do I learn coding? All of that fun stuff. Or how do I get into that whole trading stuff I be hearing people talk about? That dude's book, Bitcoin in Black America, is one that I definitely recommend. And then when you want to get a little bit more deeper or like whatever, then we could talk about like Satish's book, Bitcoin Standard, or we could talk about what's his name? Oh God, wow, I cannot remember his name right now.
No, I don't know. I'm looking at you like, teacher.
Nah, oh man, I am so mad I can't remember his name because I was just watching one of his videos earlier. Point being is that I'm not trying to tell you go jump in the deep end.
Right.
Like once you start reading the simple little thing, you will automatically get into your own rabbit hole and fall down it. So again, Bitcoin in Black America by Isaiah Jackson, aka Bitcoin Zay. There's another book called The Bitcoin Standard. Oh God, I can't remember the other guy's name right now, and he's like pretty much like the godfather in regards to the public content creation part of the space.
Okay. Let me ask you another question.
I'm gonna remember at the end.
For those who are not like audiobook listeners or readers, sometimes I've been enlightened, right, through like a Netflix documentary or a 15-minute YouTube. Is there anything out there that you know of where it's like, blockchain 101 for dumbasses, and they can click it on? You know this culture right now. They need something quick, fast, and accessible.
Okay, like boom. I'm on the YouTube. Excuse me. The Gentleman of Crypto. My guy out of Florida, Mackenzie. Okay. He has a joint called what is it? Crypto and Culture. Okay. Culture. Damn, I'm forgetting how to say his name, but I'm gonna send you the link and stuff on it. So Gentleman of Crypto is one YouTube channel I would definitely recommend. Those my dudes out of Cali. Crypto Blood, he's out of Detroit. If you into that whole trade and money side stuff and you're interested in the tech, he's definitely on that. If you know anything about the whole DeFi wave growing right now, my guy Mackenzie, Crypto and Culture is the name of his channel. Who else? Oh, website. This website, I tell people when they look at it, this literally has like 95 to 98% of the information you would ever want to like go through about this whole crypto thing. Mainly focused on Bitcoin, but it connects to X amount of other things. You will spend months going through this joint. It's called lop.net. It's by a guy named Jameson Lopp, but it's LOPP.net. You will spend months going through all of the links in that one section of his website. And it goes from like the ABC all the way to like in the woods, the deep level coder. Okay. So if you were anywhere within that spectrum, like you will find something there. So it's like it lists podcasts, it lists books, it lists papers to read. Oh, that's another thing too. Read the actual Bitcoin white paper. It's a very short read. It's only like 3 or something pages, and you might not get all of it, right? In the first read. But once you start going down the rabbit hole, it's going to make so much more sense to you. You'll definitely understand why so many other people are trying to chase the goal of making another Bitcoin.
So what's the name of it again?
The Bitcoin white paper.
And is it a publication? Is like a newsletter, or is it just a thing?
Nah, it is literally online. You have a couple of different sites that I can't think of offhand that actually break down like paragraph for paragraph what it means. Okay. But there's like a ton of mirror sites that have copies of the Bitcoin white paper. Like I said, it's like under 5 pages or something. Okay. And it may sound X amount of technical in certain parts of it, like when it breaks down the math equation for how you figure out nuance and stuff like that. Okay. But that's not the important part of you technically understanding the formula. My point to say read that is when you start going further on into other cryptocurrencies and tokens, it will make more sense to you why so many people are trying to remake, or come up with that next Bitcoin. It's like how people are trying to do, like, let me make the next Facebook, let me make the next Amazon. That's what Bitcoin is right now. You have a bunch of different tokens and coins.
Yeah.
Right.
But Bitcoin is the standard as of right now.
As of right now, it's the number one. I'm not even going to get into the history part of it. Let's just go with, it's the one that everyone's trying to race with. So, and then you'll start learning about all the differences in tokens and the difference of who has a different feature and all of that fun stuff. Yeah, that I would say definitely, like, look at the Bitcoin standard, but I would also say the book Bitcoin in Black America, then the Bitcoin standard, and like check out that website lopped.net, LOPPNET, and like it will take you, those three things right there will take you to all of the other things going on in this space one way or the other. Because your curiosity is going to get piqued, because something is going to something's going to click with you. Either it's going to be the money, it's going to be the tech, or it's going to be you seeing some opportunity to like really be able to utilize it somehow in what's going on where you are in life.
That's it's like a challenge almost. It's almost like you believe in some of these theories where like it's like unlimited multiple universes, and it's like somewhere somebody, myself or someone listening, is gonna say, let me go check that shit out, and then that version of themselves is gonna do something great with it or terrible. Maybe they build something terrible, but they're gonna do something with it, and then all the other universes are gonna be like, all right, man, whatever. With that twerk video from Megan Thee Stallion, fuck this bullshit. Man, this shit's stupid. Somebody somewhere gonna be like, yo, let me check, because I already Googled it, and I started seeing some equations on this white paper shit. I said, okay, but
like I said, I'm
gonna take you up on it. I'm gonna check them out.
It's not the mandatory to understand the equation. But like I said, once you start going down a rabbit hole, it will make a lot more sense why others are trying to replicate that thing called Bitcoin. Okay. And the other thing, like I said, in regards to like Black people, especially here in the US, like there are a lot of smoke and mirror things going on right now when it comes to what is the financial wealth and the mechanisms that you can use to build it and then transfer it. And depending on what you're paying attention to, you might think that everything you're doing is like the right quote thing, right? But again, like I have a whole nother like thought about like how our situation in the States work out. But where am I going with this one? I would encourage you to look at other options that may not make total sense to you, quote, right now, but at least be aware of it. That's the thing that like really gets me. Like I remember like talking with Zay like over a year ago, because he had an uncle who was in banking, and when he told his uncle about Bitcoin, he was like, nah, man, that ain't never gonna happen. And then like 6 months or something later, his uncle's like, yeah, so now we got to start taking these mandatory courses to learn about cryptocurrency and blockchain. And he works for like one of like, I think like the top 10 banks in the US. Right. So like, I say this again, I'm not saying I know Bitcoin is going to be here in 5 to 10 years.
But blockchain will.
Exactly. Like the technology part, like I said, it's the money medium is upgrading. Right. I'm not saying I know which one is going to be the be all end all. Like Highlander, it can only be one. Right. But the technology is not going anywhere.
Jesus. Blockchain technology is most simplified or simply defined as a decentralized distributed ledger that records the too many big words. Fuck this shit.
All right. What does that mean? It basically means this. If you had a building that had 100 rooms in it, and I said to you, hey, there's a ledger in each room, I need you to go in there and steal that ledger so I can then alter it. You cannot go in and steal all 100 at once. You're going to try to take one, maybe two. But there's still another 98 of them that have the same information on it. And that's what the whole blockchain thing about as far as the shared ledger of and really the ledger only does this. It only says that something went from account A to account B. Something went from account B over to account A. That's it. That is literally all that happens. And so this thing about what makes blockchain so interesting is that you can't, what we call double spend, where I can't go to the first room and be like, yo, I got $10. Let me go buy this thing from you. Spend the $10 there, walk to the second room, and then be like, all right, that thing costs $15. I'm going to buy that from you. I just spent the $10. I don't got $15. Once I spent it in the first room, all the other rooms know I spent the $10 and I got $0 on my ledger in my column that represents me. So I can't go to the other room and be like, yeah, I got 15 now. Why? Because they're going to look at me like, nah, dog, we see what your ledger look like. You only got 0. That's blockchain basics.
Is that another incentive to maybe like stop or halt fraud or something like that with our current money systems or whatever? Like, okay, it's impossible to do it, or it's less probable to do it, or.
So here's a funny thing, like, and this kind of gets a little bit more into the deep part of it. Yes, because the fraud would be you trying to double spend, right? So you going from room 1, hey, I'm spending the 10 here, and then trying to go over into room 2 and spending it. But everybody in all 100 rooms know, no, he spent the 10 in room 1. He cannot spend in room 2 or any other room because everyone has the same bit of information about how you spent just now. So yes, that would be a way of eliminating fraud as far as double spending goes. But then, like, a little bit more down the rabbit hole, when you start getting into like smart contracts and some other stuff, it gets a little bit more screwy. For the smarter techie folks who know how to do certain things. I'll say it that way. So, yeah. But in general, yes, it is a way, like the double spending and being able to eliminate that is the basic of dealing with curtailing fraud. Now, we're talking about spending fraud. We're not talking about identity fraud. Right, because the irony of it is with the way that blockchain in regards to cryptocurrency works now, right? I have this thing called a private key. So if I have my private key code on my phone, right? And then you take my phone and go spend it, all that happens just now is that in that same building of 100 rooms, everyone has the same record that I just had a transaction happen from my phone, and not necessarily my device, but from my address, right? It isn't saying Trek did it. It isn't saying Nick did it.
It's like an IP address
so
type of thing.
Fraud, nope, no, not even that. Well, technically, yeah, that's kind of running into the weeds, bro. Okay. But here's what I'm saying. As far as being personally identified in the real world, right? It's not saying Trek did it. It's not saying Nick did it. All it's saying is, yo, the address that goes to this account on the ledger did a transaction. Okay. That's it. So that kind of fraud, you can't stop in regards to how the system is set up now unless you do a couple of different things, right? Okay. So like that's the whole thing about like, you know what F2A is and like putting in the PIN number and all that. Like that's where that whole thing comes into play. Because in general, if you don't protect your private keys, anybody could just steal your stuff and go and spend it, and you kind of have no recourse.
Especially now.
So, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
early in the game and all that.
It is definitely a couple of caveats and nuances to it, but then I got to start like breaking down certain like
all
things.
Right, no, I feel you.
Yeah, wallets and stuff.
What's so cool about this is something that we cannot cover in the 30 minutes to an hour. And even if we try to do it would be new information that would, trump that. So like I said, with this platform, I continue to thrive and try to grow it. And I don't want to just talk to MMA fighters. I just want to talk to potential mayors or prostitutes or strippers or drug dealers. I want to talk to people.
A lot of people, bro.
I like to learn. I'm telling you, I'm gonna watch this again, and I'm gonna try to read up on it. But then I'm gonna take a break and watch Sopranos again, and then watch some other stupid shit. But then I'm gonna get back to it again. But I think it's very important what you're covering, man. Very, very important.
What's the other joint? Yeah, you know what's funny? If you look at Netflix and what Netflix has been doing over, let's say, the last 3 years, they've been slowly introducing crypto to the masses, bro.
Oh,
like between the cartoons.
Is it? Yeah, I have seen it. Is it a documentary on Netflix? Please tell me it has to be something. I gotta go.
It's a couple of. It's like 2 or 3 documentaries on Netflix. I know 1 or 2 of the people who've been in those, but I'm talking about in regards to like shows. Yeah, just like Billion is one. There's a couple of different cartoons. Like what was that? Big Mel.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Like it's slowly but surely being introduced into like the early adopter folks realm, and it's being done through different things. So social media is one thing. The TV shows is another thing. We hear it in music. So like it's being pushed out. It's just one of those, like, not everybody's really, quote, paying attention, and they still kind of like, oh yeah, you mean that digital money stuff? Like your wallet is digital money right now. When you get your money direct deposit in the bank account, and that's digital money.
Yeah, that's all digital transfer. Everything.
Bruh.
No, I'm with you. If they need to reach you again, how can they reach you? What's the best way to reach you?
I'm gonna say the IG. We'll go with the IG. If you're talking about like you want to learn, on the education side, I could definitely refer you to a bunch of people who are more focused on the education stuff right now. As far as how my company stuff works, my company's called Trekk Smart Consulting, and I deal in the more B2B realm as far as storytelling, branding, so brand positioning stuff for companies that are looking to either integrate technology, the blockchain technology, or people that are looking to get into the industry. Okay. So it's kind of it's education, but it's not the same level of, I just want to know how this wallet thing works. And I definitely stay away from financial advice. I don't play that game because of seeing how things have played out in the American jurisdiction. I've been in this long enough to see how that stuff is played out. I can point you in the direction of some really knowledgeable people, though, like people who like this is what they do. It's just one of the things that I know is not my cup of tea. If you want to learn about trading, mining, the financial advice stuff, I can point you to those people all day. What I particularly deal with is the B2B side of looking how do you either integrate the technology into your business, or how do you get into this industry as far as being like career change or pivoting your business. All right.
I like it. I love it. Hey, let me ask you some financial advice questions really quick. Even though you told me no, let me go and ask you. So look.
And somebody gonna hit me up about it too.
Yeah, I guarantee, bro. I'm trying to clean this money, wink, wink. I'm trying to wash this money. Bro. How can I Bitcoin it? Hey, look, man.
I'm the last one.
I dig it. Thank you for coming on. We'll have you on again on the digital platform, and then eventually we'll have you on a couch. And I mean, as long as I'm doing this, you're welcome here, brother. I'm very supportive of what you're doing, not only for the community at large. What's that?
I said you gotta get that clear by Mo first.
Bro, look, the fact that I'm on here is clear by Mo. You better, look, and he know. That's how you know. He know, and everybody in this motherfucker know. But
yeah, that's who I brought it up to first, bro.
Yeah, look,
like, I'm good between.
She ain't playing, not at all. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm a fan. I'm watching. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and we'll talk more in the future. What's up?
Yo, can I drop this one last thing? All right, so I do this thing called Thursday Blackness. I mainly push it over on LinkedIn. You can find some of the older videos though on the IG platform, but I push this on LinkedIn heavy, mainly over there. The basic idea is I give props, hat tips, raise fists to the Black folks across the globe who are doing their part within this crypto thing. Some people are content creators, some people are inventors, some people are just the influencers, some people look to be the educators. It's X amount of business folks in this thing, bro. Nice. And if you googly DuckDuckGo Thursday Blackness, and my name Trekk Trekk I will pop up. Some video will pop up. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm saying this out to the Black folks on the end of like, we are in this space. We've been in it from the beginning. Don't let nobody tell you different.
I like it. That's a militant Trek. That's a militant Trek. I like it. Hey, brother, I'll see you soon. Sunday, I think it's still good. And we'll talk more about it then. And we'll get some clips up. And I'll have the link to you as soon as possible. All
right, bro. I appreciate it, man. Thank you again. Thank you, Mo.
I'll see you soon, brother. Be safe out here. All righty. Trek.
All right, bro.
Let's see here.
Like, bro, like.
So that was Trek. I think I cut him off mid talking. Hopefully he doesn't beat me up for it. Hopefully you guys liked it. You learned something. We'll have him on in the future. And if you are watching this and you want to answer or have any specific questions, let us know. And we'll get some answers to you. Also, if you got some dope shit you want to talk about and don't mind cursing or insensitive topics to be thrown in between your sensitive shit, holla at us. Not Safe for Ears, Instagram, Facebook, notsaferears@gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email for whatever reason. And y'all wash your hands and be safe out here. Bye. Oh, fuck you too, by the way.